Hello everyone, welcome back to the Inspiring Vanessa Show. I'm your host, Inspiring Vanessa, and I'm delighted to be joined by my guest today, which is my wonderful friend, Karson. Thank you for being here.
I am happy to be here.
Well, you're always welcome here. So just going to jump into the first question, which is, when did you begin singing and how did you realise you had a passion for it?
Well, I began singing about 2 years ago, and I didn't actually start off singing pop. I started off in musical theatre, so I joined a club, and then I realised that my passion started to develop, and then I've gone from there ever since.
So what was it like kind of being in rehearsals during musical theatre? How did you feel when you kind of first stepped into that industry?
It was quite intense at first. Like, it's a lot to remember and it's a lot to do because it's not
lot
just
of work.
Yeah, it's not just
Singing and
acting and
dance.
dancing. So it's all three of it. But I guess like as time goes on, you get more comfortable with it, and it just comes naturally now. So yeah, that's how I start.
Oh, that's so interesting. Would you still continue doing musical theatre now? Or you're kind of moving towards just being an artist, more or less being a performer?
I still do both, so I'm just waiting now because obviously the whole coronavirus. I'm just waiting to join a new place, but hopefully I get in and I'll just carry on my musical theatre and start my new pop journey.
Oh, well, fingers crossed, we're all rooting for you. So you actually did perform in the O2 Arena. So what was that like, and how did you feel when you were actually on stage in front of all those people?
It was such a surreal atmosphere, like just watching everyone watching you, like knowing that my family was in the crowd and random people, and getting to perform with Bradley Walsh, like that was just,
wow.
Yeah, it was just amazing.
How many people were there?
Audience-wise, I think there was over like 5,000.
Oh my gosh.
But I think like cast-wise, there was about 200 of us. So there was quite a lot of cast.
That is a lot of people to be managing at the same time. And how are your family like reacting towards you being on stage? Did they come with a massive poster?
They were all just sitting in the audience cheering me on because they didn't want to embarrass me. But yeah, they were all just cheering me on, and they was all in different spaces, so they got to see it from different point of views. Well, I hope they liked it. I'm pretty sure they did.
I think everyone would, because your voice is brilliant.
Oh,
so you kind of just have to enjoy your performances. So I can imagine that you've done a lot of performances and performed in front of a lot of different people. So what has been your favourite memory from a performance that you've done?
Pop-wise, I like singing pop songs and stuff like that. I'd say Korean's Got Talent, because it kind of like started off my career. Obviously, I met you there, and it was just like, it's good recognition, and it really helped me build as an artist. And I've developed so much from there because people have started to like not recognise me, but started to realise that I am in this like to go further. I'm not just one of the people that go around singing for no reason.
Yeah. And
then performing wise, I'd say Shrek, because obviously I played Donkey, so that was just such an interesting character to play and to show. And I'm glad that my family were sitting in the audience to see it, and it was just one of the greatest times.
What was it like going through like that makeup process for turning into Eddie Murphy, the donkey from Shrek? That's quite an iconic role that you kind of have to live up to. Was there some pressure there?
Yeah, so it was quite hard to like nail his accent and stuff. So it was a lot of training through that wise, and then the makeup, the face paint, all of that took about an hour. Then they had to do my hair a certain way, and then they had to clip the ears onto my hair, and then I had to make sure I put the onesie on the right way so the towel was facing the right way. So yeah, it was just so much hassle, but it was all worth it because it was an amazing production, and I can't wait to do something like that again.
Yeah, it's great to hear. Can you give us a bit of, if you still remember it, can you give us an impression of the donkey? If you remember one of your lines from the performance.
I can't get back into him, but one of the lines that he said that everyone laughed at, it was the onions lines, and he starts comparing Shrek to an onion, and then it was about him being like smelly and about him having layers and all of that, and it just made the whole audience laugh. And that's just when like, that was that one time, because it was one of my first lines that you could really connect with, like Donkey. Even though it's a donkey, it's still a character that you had to connect with. So it's quite hard, but I'm glad I done it because it was a new experience, and just like, at least I know now I can play an animal that speaks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, it just shows range. Yeah. It's like, well, on your resume you can just be like, oh yeah, singer songwriter, but also I can play a donkey, I can play an animal that speaks and make an audience laugh. That's the best thing. So my next question is, how do you prepare your vocals performances?
I normally do like the normal warm-ups, so if I obviously don't have a piano, they're more like breathing warm-ups, so it's just like breathing in for 2, out for 2, and then just going higher up the scale. But if I have a piano or a keyboard with me, then it's normally just singing along to the keys and just seeing how high I can go depending on what song I'm doing. So if I'm doing a low song, I'd normally work on the low range, and if I was doing a high song, I'd work on the high range. But if it was a mixture, but if I just have to go all that for a piano, so yeah, that's how. It's very like also mentally preparing. So like you need to remember like being nervous is a good thing because it shows that you're excited and you want to do it. But just don't let it get the best of you, because if you're nervous, sometimes you can get choked up as a singer. So sometimes you just have to take back, breathe, and then just do what you have to do. So yeah, that's how I prepare myself mentally and physically for.
I mean, that's really important. Thank you for sharing that as well, because it's not only just about practicing on your vocals, it's about putting yourself in that mental state to perform and to be in that confident state. Otherwise you can't really deliver what you want to the audience. So that's really, really important as well, to prepare yourself emotionally and mentally. Also, how do you choose what song you're going to perform for different events? Does it depend on what kind of event it is?
It normally depends on like the audience, like why. So if it's like kids mostly in the audience, it would normally be like a song either they would know or more upbeat song that they can like dance to and clap along to. But if it's more of a like an event like where it's adults and they're sitting and they want to hear your like talent, like your vocal range, then it'd normally be like a bigger song. So maybe like a sadder or a love song, something that they can connect with, that I can connect with and put a message across to the audience. So it just varies on what the audience members are, and sometimes obviously you have to be careful about what you sing around certain types of audience, because you can't really sing a song about love to kids
to 5-year-olds,
because they're not really going to get it. So you just have to watch about the audience. But normally it's quite easy to pick a song, but I go to my singing teacher, we do a few songs, whichever one's best, then that's the one that we go for, and then I just have like loads of resumes. So, yeah.
That's really interesting to hear as well. You never really think about it properly, but there's a lot of kind of backhand work that goes into performances behind the scenes. So my next question is, I'm very interested in finding out what your favourite genre of music is to perform in and why.
Performing wise, like on a stage with an audience of like adults and stuff like that, it is normally musical theatre, because it's a lot, because there's a character behind it, so it's a lot easier to connect to, and I feel like it's more emotional and it gets a message across. But normally if it's like an event like where people want upbeat songs and stuff like that, I love to sing pop, because even though they're harder to connect to, when you find the song you connect to, it's a great experience just to like connect to a song after trying all that time and then finally feeling like, okay, I've got this. It's just like a good feeling.
Yeah, you feel accomplished that you've actually kind of made that next step for the audience as well, not only, and also for yourself.
Yeah.
And who do you idolise in the music industry?
I'd say like Lewis Capaldi, James Arthur, Ed Sheeran, because they're amazing writers, and like sometimes you're just inspired to be like them, and about how big they are and stuff, and just getting those, and their songs are amazing. So yeah, and yeah, that's who I idolise. But sometimes you like Adele and stuff, like even though obviously I can't sing as high and stuff as them, they're still like, wow, you're just amazing. Like sometimes you hear them and it's just like, you're out of this world.
Yeah.
You don't even, like you should have been big forever. Like,
yeah, you should have had your big break the minute
you started singing. You started, so yeah. But they're just like the main people I idolise. It's just, you can look up to them as well, and they aren't like the people that are like rich, like that have similar backgrounds to some people. They started from nothing and came to the top, so it's just inspiring to look at that from where they were to where they are now. So.
It represents that everyone starts somewhere, which is really important for us to continuously remind ourselves that as well, because not everyone just is kind of at success when they first start whatever they want to do. Everyone has to start from somewhere and has to be consistent and work really hard to get to where they are now. So that's something we should really start reminding ourselves of. So one can agree that what you do takes a lot of confidence and maintenance, and I guess like a lot of determination. So would you consider yourself as a confident individual, and why?
I'd say to a certain extent that I'm quite confident. Like, I'm not socially awkward. I'll go say hi to people even if I don't know them, to start conversation and just to be like nice to people, so people get like a good feel. But obviously nerves come along, sometimes before you go on stage, and that's just natural. That just means that you're excited, but you don't want it to go wrong. So like, you want to do this, but you just don't want it to go wrong. So I'd say I'm quite confident, but I'm not overconfident and not underconfident. So I'm like kind of like the right level of confidence. So yeah, I'd say I'm quite a confident person.
I mean, that's really good to hear as well. I think we kind of usually mistake arrogance and confidence with each other quite a lot, because if you're overly confident, then maybe people could perceive you as arrogant. If you're just being confident and knowing your self-worth, that's not bringing anyone else down. If you're actually a confident person, that means you're actually going to be bringing people up rather than bringing people down by leveling yourself up. So that's something we kind of mistake a lot of the time, but there is a very thin line between there. So let's just make sure we're on the right side of things. So my next question is, have you ever been nervous about what other people could think of you? And if so, how did you grow from that?
I mean, of course, I'm like a human being and I have friends and stuff, and it's not the typical thing in like a school that a boy does, but they all support me. Like most of the people, obviously you get a bit of negativity here and there, but you just get along, you just go with it, and you're just like, well, when I'm singing up on stage, I feel good. Like, why does it affect you? So you just like brush it off your shoulder now, and it's just like, well, I'm singing, why does it matter to you?
Yeah.
You just do what you want to do. And yeah, my friends and family are all really supportive, so there's never any, like, too many people. Sometimes they have their close friends and they just like discourage them all the time. And I'm glad that I have friends that kind of like lift me up, and even if we can have a joke about it and just be like, you know, like, oh, you're not a good singer, and I can sit there and laugh about it, but they really support me. So like, when I have an audition or something, they always say good luck or something like that. So like, it's all support and stuff with my friends and family.
And if someone gives you negativity or kind of backlash, or gives you their own non-helpful opinion about what you do, it tells you a lot more about themselves than actually you and who you are as a person. You really need to surround yourself with people who are going to lift you high and who do encourage you and support you, because it does make a big difference, and it really does go a long way. So kind of speaking of your friends and how they've been supporting you, how did your friends and family react towards your passion for music?
My family have always been supportive, and they always knew I had a passion for music, so I started like singing, I guess, from a young age. Obviously not properly, but it was just love jamming out and stuff, and they always used to watch Glee and just like shows like that with my family. But they've always been there with me, and they've always come along the journey. They've never been like, oh, you can just go do it by yourself, just do this, just do that. They're always there to like support me. And it's the same with my friends. Like, it took them a bit longer to get used to like what I was doing, but after that they've always supported me, and they've always realised that it is my passion and I'm not just doing it to do it. They know that I'm trying to build a career out of it.
You actually want to pursue something out of it. So my next question is, what advice would you give to a young person who wants to grow their confidence and achieve their dreams?
I'd say like, take it with both hands and just like go for it and grab it and just don't let go, and always try. That's the one thing. If you don't try, you don't know if you can do it. And growing your confidence is just, you need to surround yourself with positive people, because if you don't, there's no one to uplift you. You're always going to be shy and you're not going to get anywhere. The people around you are the main thing to grow your confidence. And obviously just realise that you are good, otherwise there's no, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. So,
that's very, very true. And you can't really go anywhere if you don't believe in yourself first. People can't put their belief in you, which is don't believe in yourself. Which is the most important thing. So I say definitely try and appreciate how good you are and how hard you work.
Just have self-worth.
I think we all go through that kind of stage where it's like, am I really doing enough for myself? Am I letting people down? And you actually need to just kind of think to yourself, and it's like, no, actually I'm doing pretty well for everything that I'm doing. You need to really just congratulate yourself and validate yourself, rather than waiting for someone else to do that for you.
Especially in the times we're in now with the whole pandemic and stuff, you need to be, because your mental health can be so bad when you're just sitting in your room all the time doing nothing. Like, you need to get up and do something. So find your passion, and I think you'll just thrive from there.
And keep working towards that. So I'm very fascinated to know, could we be expecting any music coming out from yourself in the near future?
Well, I've actually just finished one song, and I'm working on a second right now. And hopefully I'm going to be bringing out an EP in the early mid of next year, so hopefully soon,
That's really exciting to hear, so make sure to stay tuned for that and see what the music's going to be coming out, because I'm very, very excited to see you kind of just succeed
Yeah.
and have your big break, and hopefully just be like the number one song and number one hit. So where can we find you on social media to keep up with your journey?
So on Instagram, I'm Karson133, and on Facebook, I think I'm Karson Reynolds. Yes, it's just Karson Reynolds. No capitals in those spaces.
So we can all keep updated with your journey, and hopefully that music will be coming out. And before we do wrap up, do you have any final words of advice, a golden nugget to give to the viewers?
Just believe in yourself, otherwise you're not going to get anywhere and no one else is going to believe in you. So the first thing is to believe in yourself, and then hopefully you'll go somewhere.
You always need to start off with self-belief, self-love and self-worth, and that way you can succeed and flourish.
And grow to confidence.
Yeah, and grow to confidence, for sure. So that has come to the end of this interview. Thank you so much, Karson, for being my guest today. Thank you all for tuning in today. Make sure to go and stay tuned for our upcoming episodes, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.